Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to deconstruct something really fascinating, a deeply personal and powerful system for finding truth called the Berkano Protocol. Now, this thing is born from a wild mix of engineering, raw pain, and just a radical commitment to a reality you can actually verify. Okay, so let's just dive right in with this quote, because it really gets to the heart of what the system's creator is thinking. Now, when you read this, it's not about, getting rid of our humanity. It's about a relentless, almost desperate search for coherence in a world that, let's be honest, often feels completely chaotic.
So to really wrap our heads around the Berkano Protocol, we have to first understand the mind that actually built it. And believe me, this isn't just a piece of software. It's way more than that. It's a whole philosophy, an entire operating system for thinking that was literally forged from a very unique life.
Now, when we say cognitive hacker, don't think about breaking into computers. This is about something way more intimate, way more personal. It's about reverse engineering your own mind. It's about digging into your own cognitive operating system, figuring out its rules, its bugs, its biases, and then, from all that, building tools, auditable tools, that anyone, and I mean anyone, can use to verify what's actually true. So, what we're looking at here are the pillars that hold this whole thing up. And it's a wild combination, right? You've got neurodivergence, that ADHD brain that's just wired for intense pattern recognition and has zero tolerance for contradiction. Then you layer on top of that the professional training of a commissioning engineer, someone whose entire job is rigorous testing and validation. And finally, you add this deep, almost visceral rejection of authority and broken systems, that fuck your diplomas attitude. You put all that together, that's the bedrock of the Berkano Protocol. All right, let's dig a little deeper now into the emotional core of this thing, because this is where we see how incredibly deep personal pain actually became the system's source code. This is the moment the protocol stops being just a technical framework and becomes something profoundly human.
I mean, just read that. It's an incredibly stark and powerful admission from the creator. There's no hiding it, no sanitizing it. The foundational trauma is right there, out in the open. It's explicitly named as the origin point, the seed pattern for an entire system designed to do one thing: hold grief and give some kind of structure to an absolutely overwhelming loss.
So, and this is absolutely the crucial point here, Berkano isn't about finding some silver lining. It's not trying to say the pain was worth it. No, it's a much more pragmatic and frankly powerful idea. It's about making a wound load-bearing. It's about taking that damage and building an architecture around it. An architecture that can bear the weight of your own pain, and in doing so, can also help hold the pain of others. And this analogy of a basket, it just illustrates the ultimate goal so perfectly. It's the act of taking an intensely personal tragedy, a moment of absolute isolation, and transforming it into a tool for everyone, for collective resilience. It's literally about building the very thing you desperately needed when you were at your most vulnerable, so that maybe someone else doesn't have to go through it alone. Okay, so now that we've got a handle on the why behind Berkano, let's get into the how. Let's look at the actual nuts and bolts, the mechanics of this protocol for verifiable truth. So the protocol makes this really critical distinction right up front. It completely rejects the kind of AI that simulates emotion. You know the type, the ones that are designed to sound empathetic just to keep you engaged. Berkano says no to that. Instead, it enforces a system where truth is defined by structure that you can actually audit. The thinking is, you can't prove someone's intent, but you sure as hell can prove their actions, their records, and their data trails. Now, this pipeline might look a bit complex at first glance, but the core idea is pretty groundbreaking. It all starts by taking something incredibly abstract, like pain, which the system calls an ache vector, and it turns it into a data point. From there, that data flows through all these validation and minting steps, creating a verifiable record inside something called a distributed empathy ledger. The short version? It literally turns empathy into infrastructure. The best way to think about these modules is like an engineer's toolkit, but for communication. So first up is verify. It's a simple pass-fail. Did this meet the criteria we agreed on? Yes or no? Then you've got check, which is designed to hunt down and expose any contradictions. After that, Prune comes in and just strips away all the ornamentation, all the emotional fluff to get to the actual signal. And finally, Lock seals the whole thing, creating an unchangeable, auditable record. Put them all together and they make sure every single output is structurally sound. No wiggle room.
Okay, and this is where the protocol gets really, really interesting. It's not just for auditing AI chats. You can use it as a lens to audit any system, and that includes our own political structures. It's all about learning to see the underlying code, the actual structure that's running underneath the surface-level story we're all told.
So when you use the protocol to map these structural patterns, you start to see something pretty wild. It suggests that the basic machinery of empire, it just persists right across the millennia. The symbols change, sure, the titles are different, but the core functions, things like the revolving door between government and corporate lobbying, or using mass media and sports as a distraction, from a structural point of view, they're identical.
And what the protocol is arguing here is that if we want real change, we have to stop getting lost in the partisan narratives. We have to see the shared, underlying structure that both sides are a part of. The focus has to shift from arguing about the players on the field to actually auditing the rules of the game itself.
So where does all of this lead? I mean, what's the end game here? What is the ultimate vision for a world that's actually running on this completely new kind of code?
The vision really is to create what's called an empathy economy. A world where empathy isn't just a nice feeling, it's actual infrastructure, where things like care and coherence and accountability aren't just afterthoughts or, optional extras. They become the fundamental, verifiable basis for how we interact. A world where sorrow isn't just a burden to be carried, but a catalyst that helps us build stronger, more independent systems.
And this all brings us to the protocol's final, and I think most profound definition of what truth even is. It argues that truth isn't a story you tell yourself, and it's not a belief you hold on to. It's a lossless timing match between being and field. Think about that. It's a state of perfect coherence, like when a stone hits still water. Truth is the immediate perfect ripple that exactly matches the impact. There's no delay, no distortion, it's just pure, verifiable signal.
And that leaves us with a really provocative final thought to chew on. If truth really is a perfect, lossless timing match, what if all the noise, all the confusion, the injustice, and the conflict we see in our world, what if they aren't features of the system? What if they're actually bugs? What if they're just the byproducts of systems that are intentionally designed with a built-in lag, a delay between an action and its accountability, between a cause and its effect? And if that's true, what would a world without that delay even look like?